Greetings, Slackers. Today is February the 4th, 2016, and I have an article over here which is a follow-up from an article I did the day before. What's causing the rise in STDs in LA County, and how can technology help? Over on the Los Angeles Times, and this is by Suma Karlamangla. Sexually transmitted diseases are on the rise across the nation, but the problem is particularly acute in Los Angeles County. Not only does the county have the most cases, it also has some of the highest rates of chlamydia, gonorrhea, and syphilis in California and the nation. Some public health experts have blamed the heavy use of online dating apps, arguing that they lead to more casual sex among people 25 and younger, who are the most likely to be infected and also the least inclined to seek testing. Though the precise cause of the increase is not clear, some entrepreneurs and public health officials are trying to tackle the problem with technology. Dozens of organizations now offer STD tests that can be ordered online and mailed to homes. The customers provide a sample, send it back to a lab, and receives results within a few days. But as these tests become more popular, experts warn that they may not always be accurate. We don't know. They could be doing the testing in their garage. They could be doing this on their kitchen table, said Dr. Charlotte Gatos, an STD expert and professor at Johns Hopkins University School of Medicine. Gatos was one of the first to offer test kits in 2004 to high schoolers in the Baltimore region. She collects data on how well the tests work with the hope that a company will eventually cite the research to receive approval from U.S. Food and Drug Administration to sell similar tests in stores. As it is now, the tests do not need to be cleared by the FDA to be sold online. Still, Gatos thinks there's a public health opportunity in testability to target young people, many of whom do almost everything on their smartphones. People do want this kind of thing, she said. STDs spread in large part because people don't get tested enough, so undiagnosed infections are unknowingly transmitted from one person to another. As technology improves, Gatos thinks people will eventually be able to pick up an STD test from a drugstore and get results immediately, much like a pregnancy test. But in the meantime, they need to be tested. And here's a copy of that chart that was in the other article. Several years ago, a testing campaign launched by the LA County Department of Public Health showed how difficult it was to get people to go to one of the country's 12 STD clinics, said project coordinator Harlan Rotblatt. Many STDs don't have any symptoms at first, so people must first decide to get tested and then find the time and a way to get to a clinic. You're not being driven by a physical issue, he said. So all the logistical barriers become an extra thing on top of you don't really want to do this anyway. So in 2009, LA County started offering kits online that test for chlamydia and gonorrhea for free to women under 25. Sexually active women under 25 are supposed to have annual screenings for the two infections because they're considered high risk and bear the brunt of the consequences of most STDs. Each year, at least 24,000 women become infertile because of complications of STDs, according to the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Just exhorting people to get tested, as we had been doing, wasn't going to be effective for everyone. So we thought this was a really good way to take advantage of the new technology of testing, Rotblatt said. Using Gatos' program as a model, the county began providing testing kits and has since mailed about 9,000, he said. Last year, Planned Parenthood launched an app in California through which men and women can order chlamydia and gonorrhea tests. A paper found that in 2009 there were already 27 such services, and Google search now yields hundreds of results. One such startup based in Hollywood began as a way to try to make sex safer, especially for people who might be using apps to find new partners. 3 years ago, Laura Ivanova and her friend Ursula Hessenflow were sitting at a coffee shop in LA swapping stories about dating. Soon they started discussing the best way to broach the topic of sexual health with the new partner, Ivanova recalled. We were just kind of thinking, why is it so difficult to have these conversations, Ivanova said. And then it shifted very quickly to, it would be so much easier to have the conversation if people actually got tested. Rates of chlamydia, gonorrhea, syphilis in the U.S. have been fluctuating for several years. but all surged in 2014. A particularly staggering statistic, the 1.4 million chlamydia cases reported that year marked the highest number of annual cases of any condition ever reported to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. In California, the per capita incidence of the three diseases is higher and has been climbing since 2010. Ivanova and Hessenflow, both entrepreneurs, researched available STD testing options and decided to add one to the market. And there's a little more to go here, and I'll let you finish the rest. What I want to say about this is this. Yes, apps and online dating sites, the ease of access and meeting new people definitely could be causing the spike in sexually transmitted infections. What I will tell younger men is this. Some of you are interested in having sex with these women out here, and you need to be very careful. Women typically conceal their behavior, and there's a lot of information that has come out about how smoking and drug use and all this stuff, these are contributing cofactors that combine together to help suppress the immune system. And women, due to the nature of their anatomy, are more prone to the susceptibility of getting sexually transmitted infections. So keep this in mind when you're going out here to the club and, you're talking to some girl, you think it's hot, she looks good, and oh man, you wanna smash. But little do you know, and unbeknownst to her as well, because she could be asymptomatic, she could have had a sexual partner a few days ago, a week before, whatever. And you think you're getting lucky, you're both drinking, one thing leads to another, and before you know it, you're having unprotected sex. These are the kind of realities of things that go on out here, and you better be mindful of the women's history. Now, I'm going to also say that guys sleep around just as much as women too, so this is not about blaming one sex or the other. It's just to be more cautious of when it comes to women, because they're the ones who are more prone to catching these, little microbes and bacteria and viruses in the mucosa of their, vaginal fluids. And you don't really have anybody out there telling it to you like this. I know I never did had nobody tell it to me like that. I sort of had to find out the hard way. And I don't want anybody else to have to go through that. And so protect yourself when you go out here. Practice some caution. Wear protection. Take your time. Get to know somebody. Don't just hook up with random people. Right now, I know thanks to the television and popular television shows, and especially the music, it's all about, YOLO, you only live once, and trying to have threesomes and all this shit. And I'll just tell you, yeah, live your life, do as you see fit, but also keep in mind out here that you don't have to entertain or participate in everything to feel like you're a part of, you're included. You're not missing out on anything if you don't. Also, something to think about. Would you be willing to take a test that you ordered offline? And, is this something that you would, do with your partner? Leave some comments and thoughts down below on this about what you think. That's going to do it for this article. I'll catch you in the next one. This is September Man, out.